So today, if you followed some of my content, you would have noticed that I speak a lot about unconscious programming, unconscious responses, unconscious communication as a as an integral part of getting to the depth of your client's problem and understanding the role that the unconscious mind has in all of our lives, in regards to driving our emotions, our actions, our behaviors, which ultimately create the version of ourselves that we are right at this moment. And you might be somewhat confused or curious about what these unconscious responses are and what are we looking for within a conversation, because every conversation is two conversations. We have a conscious conversation and we have an unconscious conversation. So we can kind of summarize an unconscious conversation around things that are emotionally charged, that create some kind of physical response, in a large degree from the client or from the individual, or create, obviously, as I mentioned before, some emotive kind of explanation language that is being expressed by the client. The conscious mind conversation is more the logical, the step by step, the strategy kind of conversation, that quick to answer conversation that is presented when we're having a conversation with somebody. We might ask them a question. Their immediate response is going to be a conscious response, because the conscious mind, the role of the conscious mind in this case, is to protect the unconscious mind and the truth that it has within it, because the unconscious mind is there to protect us, to keep us safe, but it is also there to drive us towards health, prosperity, and with its creativity. But through its wise thought procedures, it comes up with strategies at a certain period in our life to protect us. And we run into problems later on in our life when that strategy no longer works for us. We evolve, right? And when we are finding that something within us just isn't evolving as we would like to, it's more than likely that there is an unconscious program that is protecting us and keeping us in the status quo way back when it was created. And these kind of things happen, these protection mechanisms happen really quickly, and we really have no choice about it. But what is also important to understand, if you haven't got any understanding about this, is that our emotions are stored within our body, and they are also expressed very quite vividly when you begin to be aware of it, through our physical expression. So we call these, or categorize these, unconscious responses or unconscious moments, and these show up in every conversation. And so when we're having a conversation with the client, knowing that somewhere within their thought procedure, there is an emotional driving point that is driving them to want to create the changes or create the outcome that they want. And when we explore a conversation or get to know our client, we can kind of pick up some of these things as a broad assumption or conclusion about what the client is wanting. But what is also really important, from a higher perspective, from a higher skilled perspective, is that a lot of what we come up with, I do it, you do it, our clients do it, it's just a part of being humans. We come up with our own conscious conclusions about what is actually deeper within us, what our problem is, or what it is that we want, without often seeking the really deeper, true meaning of our driving factors, or the benefit that we're going to get from that so-called outcome that we have. We are highly adaptive creatures. We are pattern creating creatures. We are easily influenced. And it is fair to say that where we are right now is quite far off our center point, where we are capable of in regards to our human potential, and pure human form, and what we want to achieve in our lifetime. And without going off in many tangents, that is what our lifetime is largely about, is about evolving and exploring our potential and learning and growing from each and every experience that we have within our lifetimes. So back to where I was heading to before about these unconscious responses and these unconscious cues that show up in every conversation. And why would we want to look for them? We want to look for them because they are going to present to us and to the client quality information that when pressed upon, when given attention, is going to add fuel to the fire in terms of a motivational drive or into unlocking what is that protection program that the unconscious mind has set forth or set in place for you whenever it was created. And when we are able to apply that attention, the unconscious mind, let's say it's like a child, when we give it attention, it's going to give us more and more and more responses and cues for us to pay attention to, so that it will eventually begin to show us true quality information that is going to, as I said before, unlock or press upon those motivational drivers. And so the unconscious cues that we're kind of looking for here is anything that our physical body might present around a kind of somewhat internalizing process. So traditionally, we're going to be asking quality questions that are going to create that you are, as the practitioner, or you as the conversationalist, is curious about what is going on for your client, or what is going on in their life, what are they doing. So we are questioning, right? We're just getting to know our client, and that is all it is, or our friend, or whoever it is that we are having a conversation with. And when we ask these questions, we want to ask questions that are going to access more and more of those internal driving mechanisms that are going to present to us these unconscious moments that we're looking for. So say, for example, one of your clients is having trouble getting to sleep at night. So a question might be something like, so what's going on for you? Like, what is stopping you from going to sleep at night at a certain hour? These kind of questions is going to create an internal questioning that's going to allow the client to go back into their unconscious to search for answers. And as we continue to question and investigate our client ultimately is going to go deeper and deeper into the unconscious to search for these responses. And we're going to know when we have quality information and really identify whether it is conscious information or if it's unconscious information by these unconscious cues. And they might be presented along anything along the lines of, say, clearing the throat, maybe some tension, maybe a scratch on the neck or the head. It could be gazing off into the far distance. It could be looking down. It could be fast blinking. It could be no blinking. It could be a scratch of the nose. It could be so many things. But never dismiss anything that the unconscious mind of the client is presenting to us. Call it out. Go, what is that? What's happening there? And the client more than likely will be caught off guard, and they'll be like, oh, I don't know. But when you continue to draw attention to those unconscious moments, something really amazing begins to happen, because the conscious mind is slowly being somewhat pushed back, distracted, put to the side, as the unconscious mind comes forth and reveals itself. And you're only going to know, understand what I'm talking about here by trying it out. So I really encourage you over the next few days to just be curious about these unconscious moments that I speak about, and play around with it within conversations, and just notice what you notice, and call it out every now and then. Just call it out and say, what was that? What are you laughing about? Or what happened there? What are you scratching your head about? And notice how the conversation unfolds into maybe another direction, or some higher quality information that's going to help you help the individual that you are having a conversation with. So, if this kind of information is intriguing to you and something that you want to learn more about and how you might apply it to not only your health and well-being clients, but within your friends and family and interpersonal relationships that are really important to you, jump on board my advanced conversational hypnosis training coming out.